Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Barton. Welcome to This One's Dedicated To.
And I'm Jennifer Ziegler, and we are here with our esteemed guest, Erica S. Perl, author of How Carrot and Cookie Saved Christmas, which was illustrated by Jonathan Fenske. Welcome, Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Thanks, Chris and Jenny. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad to have you with us. To start us off, could you please read aloud the dedication you wrote for How Carrot and Cookie Save Christmas?
Sure. My dedication is to Katie Kelly and Steve Botorf, whose warmth, generosity, and holiday spirit know no bounds.
All right. So could you tell us a little about Katie and Steve and who are they and what do they mean to you?
Sure. Katie and Steve are friends of mine. I live in Washington, D.C., and so do they. And Katie, when I moved here many years ago, Katie was one of my first kind of kidlit community friends. She's a children's author, and she welcomed me to the neighborhood and to the community of authors and illustrators in Washington, D.C. with open arms. And I got to meet Steve, who's her husband, who is also a very talented person. He was a professional TV producer, but he also has a business designing invitations. And so the two of them live in a household where creativity is evident everywhere. And the reason that I wanted to dedicate this book to them is that in addition to the fact that they are just the kind of people who just anyone they meet is instantly a friend, they welcome everyone into their home. They're just incredibly, as I said in the dedication, incredibly generous and kind and warm people. They throw a cookie party every Christmas. Early December, you get the invitation to the cookie party. And if you've ever met Katie, if Katie met you guys today, you would have an invitation to the cookie party. And it's a cookie swap. Giant dining room table is laid out with every kind of cookie you can imagine. And Katie provides containers so that everybody can take home an assortment of the cookies, which is half the fun. But then also just being in their house, it's sort of like the only way I can describe it is to say that the holiday season exploded because there's a chandelier that has Katie's collection of vintage elves like hanging from it, like all over the place, looking like they're about to like fall. And the banister is wrapped with all sorts of tinsel and decorations and things. And the tree is covered with every ornament known to mankind. And the mantle has an entire village on it. And it sounds over the top, and it is, but it's not tacky. It's all very lovingly acquired and collected, but also in the spirit of Katie and Steve. When you try to leave, you will go home not only with cookies, but they will hand you ornaments, and like they may have maybe they found a chandelier that broke and they've dismantled it, and there are these little crystals, and they'll give you like a little crystal from the tree. Like they would give you the shirts off their backs, honestly. And so that is their entertaining style, that is their personal style. And I thought, when I wanted to dedicate a Christmas picture book about the joy of giving to those you love, I thought the people who personify that, Katie and Steve.
Sounds perfect. So at what point in creating the book did you have that thought that this is who you're going to dedicate it to?
It was fairly far along. It's not that I wrote the book for them in any way. It was more that, and this is often the case for me. I don't know if it's the case for you guys, but some books I definitely have someone in mind throughout the process. But a lot of times I get to the point where I'm thinking of the dedication and it's after the book is complete. And I kind of feel like it's a little gift I can give to someone, but who's the right recipient for it? It's sort of like if you grew an amazing tomato, or if you made a beautiful loaf of bread and you thought, I want to give this to someone, who is the right person for this thing? And Katie and Steve just immediately came to mind, that they are the logical and kind of platonic ideal of who this book is for. And the other thing I was going to say is they don't know it yet. I haven't told them. And I look forward to giving them, once I finally have finished copies in my hands, I'm really excited to go over to their house and hand it to them so that they can see it in person. They're also now grandparents, so I'm excited for them to share it with their grandkids.
Oh, right. Well, is this your first holiday book?
That is such a good question. It is my first Christmas book. I have a Hanukkah book called The Ninth Night of Hanukkah. And actually this season I'm the author and co-author of 2 Christmas books, which is unusual for me because I'm Jewish and I don't write a lot of Christmas material. But this year, for some reason, I was motivated to write not 1, but to Christmas books in some fashion.
Well, there's quite a tradition of Jewish writers creating Christmas content.
That is very true. That's very true. And in fact, Chris, I also this year I have a bunch of things coming out, and I also have a story in a Hanukkah anthology, and it is specifically related to it's called The Most Jewish Christmas Song Ever. And it's related to the idea that Jews have written many of the most popular Christmas songs that exist, like 11 of the classic Christmas songs written by Jews or in some way created by Jews.
So you said you haven't let Katie and Steve know yet. How are you going to let them know?
I mean, I'm hoping that I can just find an excuse to go over to their house, which is very easy. I mean, at the moment they have a new puppy, so that alone, can do it. But find an excuse to go over and wrap it up like a Christmas present and let them, discover for themselves. Kind of excited about that. So that's the plan.
All right. Do you think they might entertain the possibility of a carrot swap this Christmas?
I think they should. I really do. I mean, honestly, carrots and cookies, they do the way I got the idea for the book was sort of the idea that, like, you set out cookies for Santa and you set out carrots for the reindeer, right? I mean, so they're right there next to each other on the plate. So I actually, in my initial idea for the book, which is not how the plot of the book ended up going, was sort of that Carrot and Cookie would sit on a plate and wait up for Santa and then discover that when Santa and the reindeer arrived, they were on the menu. That's like a very dark turn for our heroes. So I rewrote the book to make it a little happier and more less less grim. The other Christmas book that I wrote, I co-write a series of books with Barton, and I do dedications of those. And the first book in that series I dedicated to my older daughter, so it was logical that my younger daughter got the dedication in the second book. Not sure what we're going to do with the third book, but I've run out of kids. So I don't know, the two of you. What do you say? Who doesn't like seeing their name next to Dolly Parton?